long was I into that? Ladies and gentlemen, time flies when you're having fun. We did about I just looked at my watch. We did about a 10-minute little intro there. Didn't hit the record button. I hit it, and my system automates and then played another file. Hey, man, I'm a computer nerd. Sometimes we're too smart for our own good. But you're going to enjoy some of the great content that we're going to go over what we just talked about because it was valuable stuff for you. Stay tuned for the full show. So we're going to jump right in here, everybody. Your Little Castle Show. We're looking for those experts. Scott Diebold.
Correct.
Not Diebold. Diebold is our expert here today, and talking about the fact that literally there are so many things that can go wrong in a house, and one of those things is your floor. How many people have dealt with a floor that is squeaking and it drives you insane? It's like, how many times am I going to have to listen to this every day? It's just, and gosh, you can think about all the things. Like, I can deal with a drip. I can deal with an outlet not working.
Ooh, but I don't even know if I can deal with a drip.
Well, as long as it's over in that part of the house. But every time I walk by, it seems like, and I deal with it. I'm going to show Scott some of the work I need. Maybe I can use some of his services.
We have been called leak stoppers before, so that's not one of our things, but definitely squeaks. But
he's got the history as a carpenter that literally led to this, and that's where the difference is. And what we were talking about there was the fact that there's really three different levels of this that go on. And you said, what's the average cost? And you gave us a ballpark number for that. If you want to reiterate that for people.
On a basic room, we get this question every day, multiple times a day. We always tell people the base price is usually around $200, $250 a room. That just gives you a rough estimate of what you could be facing just adding up your own room. So if you're like, hey, I want to do 2-3 rooms, you're looking at $250 to $700, $750, depending on. We do it by the individual floor squeaks, so every price is custom to the house and in the room. You can break it down however you want after that. It just lets you know what we need to do to achieve quiet in your home. So when we're focusing on what takes out the squeaks, just to get people into the ballpark, pun intended, to get where people are going to be as far as what they were wanting to spend, they can do calculations roughly themselves, and then we'll come in and we're going to be very specific. We guarantee everything we do for life, so every spot we take care of. We do focus on individually, whether it's 2 spots or an entire bedroom, 10, 15, 20 spots.
Okay, yeah, so literally, I can only imagine, this is where we got back into, I'm kind of reflecting on our cost analysis. I like people to always understand that. But when you're talking about a $20,000 replacement, that's what a lot of these flooring guys say, we can fix that, but I think it's just going to be best, most efficient for you, which is good for them making a lot of money to make a $20,000 sale. Let's just replace the whole thing. You're talking $250, $300, $500 per room, and then do you have a minimum room amount, or is it how do you normally?
Well, yeah, when we're going in to fix a floor, every fix is really unique to itself. But when we're going in, we go in as carpenters looking at a floor to repair it, high level, low spots, whether it's structural, something soft, loose. If there's cracks in the floor joists, we are carpenters with a carpentry background coming in and fixing and then also installing a floor, versus having your flooring company scratch their head and maybe help you with replacing a sheet of plywood. In my mind, flooring guys shouldn't be doing carpentry stuff, and carpentry guys, flooring is part of carpentry, so it's a pretty easy jump.
Well, that's just, my dad would say you always find something you're going to specialize in. So flooring is a subcategory of carpentry.
Correct.
Right. So and there'll be the experts who specialize in that specific, like the laminate, the color, the shape, the form, the installation.
Correct.
For that component. But when you're talking about other dependent, we talked about in the first show, like the network. I'm an IT guy by trade. The network, the Microsoft Exchange server is dependent on the network. If you don't have the network, if you don't have the floor, the underlaying flooring, then and that's many times what's causing the issue. And so then you need to have an expert like yourself. So don't call the flooring guy, necessarily call the squeak expert.
Well, I tell you, I literally, the words you just said, I tell customers all the time. I said, you can have the best product in the world, but if the foundation it's sitting on is lackluster, that is the best product you're going to have installed. If you don't have a solid foundation, which is where we come in, procure your floor, and then install on top of it, you could have the best installers in the world, and the best product you'll have will be subpar. Anybody can install floors. even homeowners. But if the floor that they're installing on top of is not where it's supposed to be, which is what we specialize in mostly, is preparing the floor for installation. That is where we make the rubber meet the road when it comes down to
and you were talking about, because a lot of people do get into this, and no matter what qualifies somebody for a warranty. My roofing guys, my auto guys, there's all stipulations about manufacturer, installation, proper mechanics, all of those things that must be pre-qualified. With flooring, it's the same way. You talked about that little piece of paper that you get in the bottom of the box.
Yeah.
It details for people, and if you don't follow that verbatim, one thing, we're talking between shows, 7 things,
yeah.
one fatal thing, and your warranty's void.
Every time you open a box of wood, there is a piece of paper in there that shows the manufacturer's recommendation for installation. It's pretty simple. A lot of it's very daunting, but really there's only one paragraph for what you're installing on. Whether it's concrete, if you're installing on top of hardwood floor, if it's going to be nailed down, if it's going to be stapled down, if it's open below the vapor barrier type. It's usually only one section. You don't have to read the whole thing from start to finish, but if you fail to hit one of those things in that process, you can fail the whole warranty of your floor. And once again, that's why it's special when you know somebody like us that we can come out. One, we can repair the floor, but we can also prepare it so you're also following those guidelines, because that is a big fail when it comes to customers not following or having a flooring company not follow, where we're coming out to clean up the mess that was left behind just for a simple misstep on the installation.
And these are the things you find out about later, everybody. We talk about it all the time. Cheap, because you're trying to cut corners, you're trying to save a few bucks, you didn't follow the steps, you didn't do this one little piece that needed to be done, layment, leveling, whatever. We talk about leveling. Hey, you saved a few bucks, but you cost yourself a lot more later. Cheap becomes very expensive. We talk about that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, product. Getting into another category, getting into product related. People want to go with the cheaper stuff. You put in laminate. They want to tear out hardwood floors or put over the top of hardwood floors. When we go in and we just stop a few squeaks, we've had thousands of people they have a new floor. They have a new floor with the new sound, and they wind up not getting it sanded and finished. They wind up not putting that vinyl look-alike over the top of it, and it saves that value of that home. Wood versus laminate versus a locking floor, there is no comparison when it comes to replacing floors and then having a new floor put in versus what we can do as far as saving the floor, as far as structurally repairing it, getting rid of the soft spots without taking out the product. Like if you have a soft spot in your wood floor, we can fix it without repairing the entire floor. We would love to repair the entire floor if you need it, but it's not necessary most of the time.
Yeah, we talked about that. I have suffered from floor squeakiness. Everybody, I'm a floor squeaky victim. Nobody wants to be a victim, but I'm a victim of a squeaky floor, and I've dealt with this from a structural perspective because I am somebody who's done that a little bit. My dad taught me back in the day how to build. We finished the basement ourselves, and somebody came in and said, "Oh, you decided to hire a professional." My dad looked at the guys like, "Yeah, the professional was me." My dad. So he's good at this stuff as a point, but it's the joists, it's the actual then 4x8 sheets of plywood, the underlayment, right? And then and that piece, I didn't realize how you're talking about within a 3/8 level across.
Yes.
If you're on this side of the room, it's 10 feet across, 12 feet across.
Mostly quarter inch and 10 feet. That'll void the warranty.
If you don't have it so level that there's a variance of less than a quarter inch.
Every manufacturer has a little bit of difference. The Hardwood Flooring Association of America, which just happens to be based here in Chesterfield, a couple blocks from my house, they do set the standards for what the Hardwood Flooring Association, and a lot of flooring manufacturers do follow that. It will be listed in the manufacturer's warranty, but the manufacturer's warranty supersedes that, and for a 5-minute read, it is definitely worth looking at prior to installation. And once again, we're here because people don't read it, and we get a lot of.
Scroll to the bottom, click accept. We do it on the computers all the time.
We get a lot of work. People pay, if you're spending $2,000 on a product, doing it yourself, or you're spending $15,000, $20,000, there are problems with a floor. That is the price of a car. But there's a mechanic on every corner. Like when you work on, when you spend $20,000 on a car, something goes wrong. I want somebody to fix it. We're the only ones that fix it when it comes to a floor product. So knowing what you need in order to prevent the fix, having it installed properly and correct is a way better start. Our foundation, we work with hundreds of flooring companies in St. Louis. we also install and do the work ourselves. So there's a double-edged sword. We can help you with the installers you've already chosen, and we can also put the product in ourselves.
Well, there we go. That's what I get excited when I get to meet people like Scott, who are specialists that can help people to save money. Bottom line is, how often do we spend a lot of money on something that we don't understand and we don't properly, and then we go, well, we just got to buy a new one, got to replace it. How we talked about it a little bit in the first show also, the throwaway. I've got a dishwasher that is acting up. It's 7 years old, so it's not real old, but I've got the Bosch higher level one, but it's something went wrong with it, and it's probably it's definitely outside of the warranty, but it's cheaper these days to just buy a new dishwasher. I've got a buddy of mine who does repairs on those. He says it's going to cost you $250, $300 to get it fixed. But in your world, that's where I got excited. I'm like, you're talking about a $300 repair, $500 repair versus a $30,000 replacement.
Well, yeah, we get a lot of comparables where people want to sand and refinish their floor because they think it'll help the noise reduction, or they just want to rip the whole thing out. We've done hundreds and hundreds of floors where people have had bids to tear out the whole floor. We come in for a couple thousand and stop everything from squeaking, and it sounds like a brand new floor. And then people go with just having just having the squeak removal, and like, we come back, do something else in the house, and they're like, well, I thought you were getting your floor sanded and refinished. It's like, it sounds like a new floor already, so we just, why spend the money?
And I would say, how many people get the new floor replaced and it's squeaking, it's just still there afterwards because they didn't fix the underlying problem.
Oh, you're hitting a nerve with a lot of people that might be watching this that own a flooring company.
Well, I mean,
we'll do it ourselves, don't worry about it. I'm like, let us know.
Get back to that one.
You're going to have squeaks. Getting rid of a squeak, like I said, if you have a structural noise and you put a box of floor screws, most of the time drywall screws, people will drill in their floor 2-3 inch, whatever. You're not going to get rid of a structural noise. It is in the structure of the home. It is not coming from the floor itself.
All right, everybody. We are getting into it here with another great discussion. I want to talk quickly about this. We're going to go to a break after this question. What is the biggest mistake, though, that the average consumer makes? You can come at this from many different angles because there's always the do-it-yourselfers, right? I fall in that category many times, but are they causing more damage? And the example I'll give you, I literally did this. Don't tell anybody. I'm on tape now saying it. I got a screw out. Those joists run every 16 inches, every 18 inches, depends on
16 to 19 and a quarter, yeah.
Yeah, so even the joists can vary. And I heard the floor squeaking, so I took a couple screws and went zzz, zzz, zzz. Probably missed 4 of them, but maybe one of them hit the joist. That's the cheap way of doing this.
That's the safest time to work on your floor if you're going to do it yourself, especially. When you have access to the plywood, that's not everybody's opportunity, nor do people want to do it. Like, I've had, unfortunately, 4 different times where we come into a house, we were getting ready, the first time was for classic carpet, we come in and there are screws in the floor, and they're like, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, we're here to screw off the floor. Well, it's still squeaking. The whole floor had been screwed down. The whole floor. 1,000, 1,500 square feet, screws everywhere. I'm like, I don't know. I don't have time to check this out. We're going to do what we do. We do what we do works. So get it done. We fastened it. Well, the carpet guys are blowing it out. They're putting in carpet behind us. We're fixing the high-low spots. We're going in, getting everything ready. The house is done the same day. I had to keep looking. I had to see why this would happen. Why a floor could be screwed down and it still be squeaking. By a homeowner, mind you. And this has happened 4 times in 18 years. The screws were not long enough. It was
because you're going through
1.25 inch drywall screws going through 3/4 inch plywood. There were little points sticking out the bottom of the plywood. We didn't see them right off the bat because they're so small, but somebody sat on their hands and knees and put thousands of screws in the floor to no avail.
Wow. And even then, it could have been the underlying, what do they call that, the layer that the floor goes on top of the floor.
Well, the subfloor. It was the plywood. The plywood.
It could have been that, but it wasn't.
Most often, the number one cause for squeaks in a house is rain during construction, and that may be well after you buy the house, but number one cause is rain during construction.
Oh, that's right, because they're building a house, it's all open. I wonder about that.
Squeaks transcend builder cutting corners, new construction, old construction. Houses are built better. They're not built better than the houses are built better now than they were back in the day. Nobody wants aluminum wires. Nobody wants knob and tube. Nobody wants plaster on their walls. Nobody wants horsehair holding their house together. Houses are built better today. We have technology, we have screws, we have epoxies, we have glues. Those things can fail. You have 2,000 nails holding your studio together, screws, nails, glue. Those things can fail. It only takes one to make a squeak, and it's microscopic. I like to tell people to put in a category of what a squeak is. A needle on a record can fill an entire room with music, and there's no electricity needed. I said, so.
Well said.
So yeah, you can have a lot of noise with very little friction.
Wow. All right, everybody. We'll take a quick break here, share with you a little bit of stuff we're doing in the community. Enjoy what we got going on here. We'll be back in just a minute. All right, everybody. I've got Jackson now. I hired as my highly priced videographer. We didn't say highly paid. We said highly priced. Come on up here, Jackson. So this is your dad, right?
Yes, sir.
Kevin. A couple things I noticed about Kevin. Awesome jersey he's got on there, right? Another thing really cool. Veteran, everybody. Air Force. And
Army.
And the Army. Served in both.
Served in both.
Protecting us, keeping us safe.
Absolutely.
Help us maintain this little thing we like called freedom, where we can go to Cardinal games whenever we want
Whatever
to.
you want, walk downtown and have a good time and be safe.
Tell me what you love about when you served in the military, real quick. I'm going to ask you what you love about the Cardinals. Come on up here a little bit, though.
I actually work on military bases pretty much on a weekly basis, and so I love going to the military base and make sure that I do telecommunications. So I want to make sure that we provide the communications that's going to help them perform and do the things they need to do.
That's important.
That's what I want.
That's what I went for grad school thing for. I'm communications. If you can't communicate, nothing else matters.
I agree, 100%.
Thank you for your service there. What do you love about the Cardinals?
What do I love about the Cardinals? Well, they're the best team in the country. You know, they got more fans. It's the greatest thing to come see. I don't care. I've been to New York games. I've been everywhere, and the Cardinals are number one in my opinion.
There's people around the country. I just started off on this little Cardinal Cowboy thing. It's gotten crazy. I got people from around the country who are like, Cowboy, I saw you here. Lots of great fans out there that have a lot of fun.
They're everywhere.
And the best looking fans in baseball too, right here.
Oh, yeah.
Father and son, you can see it right
Absolutely.
there. You never see your son and Brandon Donovan in the same place at the same time.
That's funny because we've had a lot of people say that about him.
You got to get that bandana hat. All right, everybody. Cardinal Cowboy outside patios. Giddy up.
Boom.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey everybody, Cardinal Cowboy here. I want to invite all of you to be part of my new team. No, you don't have to put on a baseball uniform and be a super fan. Now, it would be a good idea to cheer for the Cardinals, the greatest team in the history of the National League. But I'm talking about the Gold Cowboy team. You know, I love to help people follow their dreams and reach their goals in business and in life. So that's one of the reasons why I'm telling you about my friends at My Metal Pro. They help people like you and I acquire gold and silver with a membership.
that lets you safely buy, sell, and store gold and silver. They make it real easy to get started. My Metal Pro isn't like the big guys you see on network TV or the big coin shops that take a huge commission. So become part of my Gold Cowboy team. Scan the QR code or go to goldcowboy.com and check it out. Giddy up!
Well, there you have it, everybody. Lots of important things we like to cover here. We share our story a little bit. But I tell you, one of the most interesting conversations I've had in a long time. Scott and I spent about another half hour in between shows talking about just the way the world is right
Oh,
now,
yeah.
and the things that we all have to be. But I would say, is this a fair statement? Be informed. Learn what you need to know. Study what's out there, because the resources are there. So many people just count on somebody else fixing it. Somebody else is going to figure it out. Well, then you're beholden to whatever they know or what they might be telling you.
At the end of the day, as a business owner, I look at, when I started Squeak Stoppers, obviously I have to educate the public and why what I do would be something they want. And then obviously if you've never heard of it before, it's terrifying. Even if it's something you want. I think it's the biggest thing at a home show. People are like, oh my God, what a great idea. But are you the one that's going to write a check? So when you're starting a business, you have to educate the public. But education is all around you at any time. Sometimes the stuff that you're educating yourself on is misleading, like YouTube. But like when I started stopping squeaks and Squeak started showing me how they needed to be stopped, I started looking at online stuff and 90% of it was false. Like you could ruin your floor using some of these things. So like not following the manufacturer's recommendation, I know that stuff is exhausting, like, oh my gosh, but what is exhausting when you're spending $5,000? An average floor install for us is anywhere from 10 to 13,000. 15,000 would be an average floor install. From tear out to installation, less than 1,000 square feet. That's a car the first 25 years of my life, you know.
Yes.
So it's like, it doesn't take that long. I mean, you're not supposed to know everything about everything that's going on, but if you're going to make a big purchase, one of the biggest purchases is either your roof or your floors. Those are the two biggest purchases in your house. Knowing and educating yourself on what could be, and I'll be biased, you can hire somebody that knows everything about it. I know a couple people, one of them's in this room, but you can hire an expert to at least walk you through it. Somebody that's not biased. I do legal representation on stuff. I want to give people the information and let them choose me as a choice on their own. I don't force anybody to use us. I can overwhelm anybody with knowledge in flooring. It's not necessary. But if you're going to do something, you might as well do it right.
Well said there. As a matter of something, you, like Scott said, your home becomes your most valuable asset. You want to make sure you take care of it. But then we shout out for our sponsors that we skipped over because we did a quick little new rendition, we'll call it, as I hit the wrong button on one of our record buttons. But I get it, sometimes programming, but the show must go on. Your Little Castle, sponsored by Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things, including nice floors in your house. But if you're going to get some furniture, do so with our friends there at Carroll House, because they are big about making things nice, and because you like nice things in your little castle. So with that, we'll go back over here. I want to share with our audience. Boy, a squeak stopping, I didn't realize could be such an informative endeavor, because you literally are helping the structure of a house and where
we're cleaning up stuff that may, and I'm using this very lightly, things that could have gone wrong. And by missed nails, like a lot of people like to resort back to, look at all the nails they missed. And I'm like, you have no idea what those nails are holding on to. I said, the other thing is, the nails that do miss the floor joist, you can't see the nail next to it that's hitting dead center. Because as a carpenter for 12 years, I built over 60 homes. You would go down, you can actually hear the nail miss, and you'd put a nail right next to it.
Yeah,
so when you walk down the floor joist, now don't get me wrong, I have been in a lot of houses where entire sheets of plywood didn't even have a single nail in them. So that does happen. I've seen it way too many times for comfort, but nevertheless, that's why we go in there. A flooring company may not be able to spot that. You clean up a floor, scrape a floor. Sometimes floors need to be sanded before you install them. But those are just things that you're not going to pick up from YouTube. You're not going to pick up from just reading a book or trying to learn a little bit right before installing your own floor. So preparation is the biggest key. I think preparation is the biggest mistake people make when going after their floors. Out of 7,000 customers, I've only had one customer fire their flooring installer because they wouldn't follow manufacturer's recommendation. I just thought of that right now. Yeah, she fired.
That's kind of frightening.
She's actually in within a couple blocks of the studio.
Okay.
She fired him for not. She's like, I fired my flooring company. I was like, why'd you do that? She goes, they weren't following the manufacturer's recommendation. And I'm like, she said I got a low spot and they were going to just install right over top of it. And I was like, good for you.
Yeah, I can only imagine that's kind of disheartening. But you think about that, like, okay, these guys are in the middle of this. They're going to do everything to make this right, but they're not sometimes. How many times are you not standing over their shoulder to see the thing that they might not be taking care of? And they go on anyway and just to get the job done.
To know, that's one time, 7,000 homes I've been in, more than 7,000. But preparation, she did her own floors after that, but we still prepared them. It was a very unlevel floor. We straightened it out to the manufacturer's recommendation, got it straight. Something like that, I think, was around $2,200, $2,300, but it's peace of mind that lasts forever because we guarantee what we do for life.
There you go. That's where you get into the technology. If you want to learn a little bit about marketing, I wrote the foreword for this book. This is this book right here you can see called Magnetize Media. If you understand how to magnetize your media, this gives an outline. It's not like a bunch of text you have to read. And I can go into some of the details, but as you just page through here, I don't know where they got this picture from, but look, it's black and white. But bottom line is learn how to use this media stuff. Somebody like yourself understands how to use media to help people get the information out. It's, he's doing advertising, he's selling things. Yeah, I am. We all are. That's how we work. But it's called informing the public. A true salesman
who doesn't make money selling things, other than doctors and nurses, but they're selling your health.
That's right. So there's something there to be said for that. But make sure you get the information out. But with that, how has technology affected and changed your business? And somebody started in 2006, fairly good time ago with regard to like Facebook had just launched. Here we are.
Yes, it did.
20 years later, and technology has really had an impact.
Yowza. So when I started, I had 100 people a year telling me how and what to do and what Google wanted and what Google was looking for and how the search engines worked. And I just got tired of listening to it all, and I Googled Google to see what Google wanted. And that is the biggest about face in my life, and know that I needed to be responsible for my own input into my own company at all times and not let just somebody else take over and tell me what they think I should do. So like when I started putting in my own organic work and putting in backlinks for other companies and getting in contact with different outfits and running ads and being on TV, that's when it really put in the footprint where people believed what I was saying and what could be done as far as squeaks are concerned. Because, I mean, who's going to call a guy like, you stop squeaks for a living? I have had doctors, lawyers, nurses. I've seen every walk of life has asked me that question at one point in time or another.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we finish up here, we got about 15 seconds. What's the easiest way for somebody to get started with you?
Squeak Stoppers and SqueakStoppers.com, or look up Squeaks guys. If you're looking for flooring and stuff like that, just give us a call, 314-341-9676. And once again, Squeak Stoppers is by far the best way and all the information.
Stay tuned for more, everybody. Your Little Castle Show, highly known as leaders in our community making a difference. Giddy up.